What's going on, YouTube? My name is Mr. Crippled, and today I'm going to be bringing you my Yorm review. Now, before we get into the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to keep up with any future content, I will be leaving a link to my Twitch and my Discord in the description below. Now, to make a long story short, I think Jormungandr is, at least without the aspect, Jormungandr is B tier. This character has some really great pros, but I feel like the cons basically outweigh them. I think he's definitely fun to play in solo and eventually play in support, but overall he's just kind of meh. To really get into this, let's go ahead and just go over his pros first. So the first thing is that his anti-CC passive, basically making it to where he can't be displaced, knocked up, banished, or anything like that. So Chalk knock up off the ult doesn't affect him. He can just keep autoing, but obviously science is still gonna affect him. Yanu's portal doesn't affect him. What else? Geb push doesn't affect him. Hercules doesn't displace him with the 2, and he doesn't push him away with the 1, but he does still stun him. Basically making it to where you cannot move this character whatsoever. So anybody with moving CC is gonna have a very difficult time fighting him. The second thing that they added to this character is that now his 1 or his pools have anti-heal on them. How much anti-heal? What is it? Like, it doesn't say for sure. I wish they would add the tooltip to this, to your ability, so you can see how much anti-heal it's supposed to be putting out. But from my knowledge, I think it's only supposed to be like 20%. It's not supposed to be super huge. 20-25%. Either way, he does have anti-heal in his kit. Another great thing about him is the safety with the ultimate. So if you're in laning phase if you're currently in laning phase with this character, it's very hard to gank him, not only because of the displacement immune passive, but also because of this ult. And he never, as long as he has his ult, and he only ever uses this to get out instead of using it for damage, you will never be able to kill him. Unless you're Janus and chase him down with the ultimate, but that's not really worth it. The last thing, and I'm going to put y'all into some tech if y'all haven't seen this yet, is along with his crazy early game, is that early game you will not be able to outclear him if he goes Golden Blade first, because of how the autos work. Since his autos now proc item effects, and his autos hit for so many times at once, he will instant clear a wave with just this card alone. So basically, getting level 3 with this character, you will not be able to outclear him, and the burst he gets from this is absolutely insane. You will not be able to fight a good Jormungandr early. It's kind of the same deal as Mordred. Early game, he's extremely impressive. However, he does come with some bad things. First and foremost that I do want to talk about is the ultimate. First of all, the ultimate is purely selfish. Yes, you can use it for damage, and yes, it can kill somebody. We're not going to sit here and pretend like the ultimate can't kill anybody and makes it to where he can kind of just focus somebody down. However, there's 2 problems with it. One, it's selfish. You are not going to be doing anything for your team with this ultimate, and in a team fight, the extra damage and the extra pulls is nice, but without the aspect, it's kind of useless, because the only thing it really offers is slows on the ticks on this 1, but the ticks are very slow, so you're not really going to be getting a lot of value off the slow with that. Secondly, the casting time is horrendously long. It was like that in Smite 1, so there's not really much of a difference here. But because of how quickly you can get bursted down, late game, full tank or not, you become a sitting duck once this ult comes out. I think every single time I ulted with this ability, or every single time I've ulted, even at full health, full tank build, I would still drop below half or even close to a quarter of my health with just 2 people there. You're just a sitting duck while they're just sitting there, blowing you up while you're casting the ult. That's not a huge deal, but that is an issue. The second thing, his hardest hitting ability is also on an extremely long cooldown, and not cooldown, but an extremely long casting time. So if you're into guys that have hard CC, or quick hard CC, like Kabrakan, or somebody like Hercules, or somebody like even Kepri, somebody like Kali who has a stun. Basically, anybody who can see this ability coming out, they can stop you from being able to use it. Now, that ability, should be easy to stop, to be 100% honest with you, because it adds a tremble and a slow. But at the end of the day, it is a very long casting time ability, and this whole time while you're casting this, your entire team could be getting blown up. Second thing, or third thing really, is CC is garbage. The only CC that he has is on this dash, which is a knockup, which is nice, and it sets up the rest of your pools again, which is nice. But as you can see, with no CDRs on a 14-second cooldown. Well, if you do a generic build, if you're sitting here thinking, oh, you can just build cooldowns and it should be fine. Well, if you're building a generic build where you won't die and you actually have a decent amount of health, a decent amount of protections, and a decent amount of cooldowns, let's say you get this, you get this card, you get this card. Maybe you grab, take an argument, let's say you got a Glad Shield so you can get more, prot off of this. They have healing, so maybe you go Contagion. You do need magic defense, so you're always still gonna need like an Oni Hunter's Garb. And maybe a Spirit Robe. Kind of pretty generic build. Even with CDR like this, still on an 11-second cooldown. Well, maybe you replace Oni Hunters with Genjis. That go through that way. What's the cooldown now? 10. Still 10 seconds on your only CC ability. So you had to be purely reliant on your team to set up good CC. Yes, you can go in with this, but good Jormungandr players are going to want to set up the 1 first before they set up the 3. Mostly because you want as many of these pulls down as possible, because these directly affect how hard your 2 hits. And the more of these pulls down, the better, because massive slows and as much anti-heal field as possible. So you want to set it up this way. So, on top of the fact that it still takes a while for your CC to come out, because you have to go through this whole animation of you going down, people can hear it, but also you still need to waste time with throwing your 1 out first, and then doing this. So, that's also a bad thing. Secondly, or finally, and I think this is probably the worst part, his late game is horrible. It's exactly like Mordred, where he's extremely oppressive early, but late game he just doesn't have enough to help his team in a meaningful way. Because he doesn't really have any self-sustain. He doesn't have a lot of good burst damage quickly. He's selfish with his team because he doesn't offer any hard CC except for maybe a minor slow that doesn't tick that often, and a knockup that's on a 10-second cooldown. And an ult that has a bunch of knockups, admittedly, but you're realistically not going to hit all 3 of these on a competent person. You'll probably hit the first cast of the ability and maybe an extra hit, but you're not realistically going to hit every single one unless you're hard predicting somebody, you know, out their shoes. But even then, you're still focusing on one person, and then at somebody, the rest of your team can get blown up. At the end of the day, he's still a very extremely selfish god, where he's only in it to benefit himself. And when those team fights come into play, and there's more people being fought against you, it's way harder for him to be able to do his job properly. At least in Conquest. I think in Joust he has a little bit of an easier time because he really only has to deal with 2 people. And in most cases in Joust, it's mostly, 2 tanks and a DPS. So he can still freely get to the back line and basically do his thing. So, overall, I think this character's B tier. The aspect is going to solve a lot of his issues if you don't know what it already does. Basically makes it to where if you're standing in these pools, it's going to reduce the cooldown on your 1 so you can keep spamming these abilities. Your 1 will also give you damage mitigation for you and your team while you're standing in this. And your 2 not only does, I think they took away the bonus damage, but they made it to where anybody who's in this field, yourself included, will gain intelligence and strength buff, so he gives a team-wide buff. So he turns from basically a selfish god into a utility god, so it's nicer, and we're definitely gonna have to test it more once it officially releases to see if they made any changes from the BTS. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about what you think about Jormungandr. Thank you all for watching, and y'all take care.